There's a hidden mechanism inside you that has been working your entire life, invisible, precise, and merciless. It's the reason you sometimes work endlessly towards something, and it still slips through your fingers. It's the reason you feel that haunting gap between what you want and what actually comes. And it's not bad luck, karma, or coincidence. It's frequency. Every desire, every thought, every emotion is a vibration. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. Your body is a transmitter and a receiver of electromagnetic patterns, each one broadcasting a signature to the universe. When you want something, that wanting has a frequency. But here's the paradox. The frequency of desire is not the frequency of having. To want something is to declare to reality that you don't yet have it, and the field responds accordingly. You've been taught to chase, to strive, to set goals and fight for them. But the deeper law, the one ancient mystics and modern physicists both describe, is far simpler and far more confronting. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. The universe doesn't speak English. It speaks in resonance. It mirrors the frequency you sustain, not the words you repeat. So if your thoughts declare abundance but your emotions still hum the tone of fear, your broadcast is static. You may think you're calling in light, but you're transmitting noise. Most people live their entire lives as mismatched instruments. Their thoughts play one melody, their emotions another, and their actions yet another. It's no wonder the music of their reality sounds dissonant. Alignment, real alignment, is when thought, feeling, and will vibrate in phase. It's the human version of constructive interference, the same principle that makes sound waves amplify or light intensify. When two waves meet in harmony, their power multiplies. When mind, heart, and intention meet in harmony, your influence on reality multiplies too. The ancient world hinted at this long before science could measure it. The Vedas spoke of Nada Brahma, sound is creation. The Tao spoke of flowing with the way, not fighting against it. Jesus said, "If two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done." They were all describing the same physics, coherence. To align is to create, to resist is to scatter, but we rarely live in coherence. Modern life has trained you to emit confusion. Advertisements bombard your nervous system with artificial desires, each one tuned to make you feel incomplete. Political campaigns feed on outrage. Social media loops you into comparison. Every click, every scroll, every spark of envy tunes your inner frequency downward. You become reactive, not creative, a node in a web of programmed vibration. What you call normal life is actually vibrational hypnosis. You wake up, check your phone, see fear, envy, anger, and repetition. By breakfast, your frequency has already been hijacked. You walk into the day thinking your emotions are yours, but they were installed hours ago by invisible signals. This is not a metaphor. Neuroscience can measure it. Brain waves synchronize when people share emotional content. Collective fear spikes global electromagnetic fields. The human heart generates a measurable field that extends meters beyond the body. We are transmitters walking through each other's signals every moment. And desire, the desperate kind, is one of the lowest and most easily manipulated frequencies. It tells the universe, I lack. It tells your biology, I'm incomplete. And it keeps you tethered to the physical dimension where cause and effect crawl instead of flow. That's why the great teachers spoke of detachment not as denial, but as calibration. They were saying, stop sending the frequency of absence. Tune to the frequency of fulfillment. Let's make this practical. You say you want abundance, but what do you feel when you open your bank app? Do you feel gratitude or do you feel contraction? That contraction is your real broadcast. It says, I don't have enough. And so reality, ever obedient, continues to echo that signal. You say you want love, but deep inside, your emotional field still carries memories of betrayal. That unresolved pattern vibrates louder than your affirmations. So even when love approaches, the field pushes it away, seeking familiar frequencies of pain. You call it bad luck, but it's just physics. The law is mercilessly fair. You can only attract what harmonizes with your current tone. This is why true manifestation is not about wanting. It's about remembering. It's remembering what it feels like to already be whole, already be abundant, already be loved. When that remembrance becomes your default vibration, the external reality has no choice but to conform. The moment you drop the frequency of lack, you move dimensions, not in the science fiction sense, but in consciousness. You stop living in the timeline of waiting and enter the one of being. Everything changes subtly: how people react to you, how opportunities find you, how time itself seems to bend. Reality reorganizes around coherence. But there's a reason this knowledge has been hidden, diluted, or mocked. A human being who knows how to tune their frequency cannot be controlled. Governments, corporations, media, they all rely on your emotional instability to sell, to rule, to distract. If you master your inner signal, their levers stop working. You stop consuming to feel complete because you already are. You stop fearing because you realize fear is just a contagious frequency. And once you're immune to fear, you're free. Think of the field of human consciousness as an ocean of overlapping waves. Most people are floating unconsciously, tossed by every current. But a few learn to direct the current. They create deliberate interference patterns that alter the flow. That's what visionaries, inventors, and mystics have always done, not magic but mastery. Einstein said, "The field is the only reality." And he meant it literally. Everything you see as solid is a stabilized frequency. The table, the body, the sky, all condensed light, slowed into form by the observer's vibration. Change the vibration and the pattern changes. You are not trapped in matter. You are maintaining matter with your observation. That's why transformation always begins inside. To change outer reality without changing inner resonance is like repainting static waves. Nothing moves until the source frequency shifts. And that shift is not achieved through effort but through state. Effort belongs to the dimension of force. State belongs to the dimension of flow. So how do you change your state? Start with awareness. Catch the micro vibrations before they solidify. Every time you say, "I want," pause and feel what that statement actually emits. Is it calm certainty or tense longing? Shift it. Replace "I want" with "I am." Not as an affirmation trick, but as a vibrational reality check. Speak from the frequency of already. Next, align emotion. The mind can imagine abundance, but the heart must feel it. Emotion is the amplifier. Without it, the signal is weak. This is why rituals, music, and movement exist in all spiritual traditions. They charge the field with emotion. When you merge thought with emotion and sustain it with will, the universe hears it clearly. Finally, sustain coherence. It's easy to meditate once and feel high. It's harder to live from that frequency when the world around you vibrates in chaos. But mastery is consistency. Coherence is not a mood, it's a discipline. Every moment you choose alignment instead of reaction, your field strengthens. Eventually, external chaos loses its grip. You become the tuning fork that brings others into harmony. Now let's go deeper, because this isn't just personal. The collective field is also being tuned. Look around. Outrage trends faster than gratitude. Fear headlines sell more than hope. That's not accidental, it's design. Mass emotion generates predictable frequencies, and predictable frequencies make populations easy to control. Anxious people buy more, vote more impulsively, and think less critically. If you've ever felt drained after scrolling through endless conflict online, that's not fatigue, it's entrainment. You've been tuned to a lower band. The antidote is sovereignty. Not rebellion, not avoidance, sovereignty. To be sovereign means to choose your inner frequency regardless of the external noise. It's to say, I decide how I feel, therefore I decide what reality I emit. You can't control the global field yet, but you can master the microfield that is you. And every coherent microfield strengthens the collective resonance of clarity. Imagine what happens when thousands of such individuals synchronize. when groups meditate not for escape, but for calibration, when families drop gossip and choose gratitude, when communities gather with shared intention instead of shared complaint, the field changes. The atmosphere shifts. Even crime rates, as some experiments have shown, begin to fall when collective coherence is sustained. That's not superstition, that's physics in motion. So what blocks you from living this way? Desire. Not the gentle pull of inspiration, but the restless wanting that whispers, "Not yet." That constant vibration of "not yet" anchors you in lower dimensions. You can't ascend while broadcasting lack. To desire is human, but to dwell in desire is imprisonment. The higher self doesn't chase, it radiates. Drop the chase, and reality accelerates toward you. This is what the mystics meant by surrender. Not resignation, but alignment. You stop paddling against the current and let the river carry you, not because you gave up, but because you finally matched its flow. Let's return to science for a moment. Every wave has a frequency, amplitude, and phase. If you introduce a second wave in perfect opposite phase, they cancel destructive interference. This is what happens when your mind says, "I can," but your heart whispers, "I can't." Your signal collapses. You send mixed information to the field, and the result is stagnation. Nothing moves because you are both the accelerator and the brake. Coherence means removing the brake. And how do you remove it? By feeling now what you were postponing for later. If you desire freedom, feel free now. If you desire love, feel loved now. That emotional choice is the frequency bridge. It collapses the distance between wanting and having. The irony is that the moment you no longer need the outcome, it rushes in. Because in that moment, your frequency matches the state of already. Desire dissolves into fulfillment, and fulfillment becomes the magnet. This is the secret that spiritual teachers, advertisers, and political strategists all understand, but for very different reasons. One group uses it to liberate consciousness, the others use it to capture it. Every day, billions of dollars are spent designing stimuli to manipulate frequency, colors, rhythms, phrasing, repetition. Every campaign is a frequency weapon. Every viral video, every slogan, every jingle, all tuned to provoke desire or fear. And as long as you react, you emit energy that feeds their system. That's why awakening isn't about rebellion. It's about withdrawal of resonance. You unplug by refusing to vibrate at their chosen frequency. When you rise above that band, you stop being food for the matrix. You become a signal of your own, and signals attract signals. People who were once strangers start finding you. Opportunities align. Synchronicities multiply. The higher field rearranges itself to include you as a node of coherence. But be warned, this path requires vigilance. Every thought, every image, every word is a microfrequency. Negativity is not a moral failure, it's a distortion in the signal. Forgiveness, gratitude, calm, these are not virtues, they are tuning methods. Use them daily. The goal is not perfection but stability. Hold the vibration long enough and the field locks in. In time, you'll notice something extraordinary. You no longer chase reality, reality starts orbiting you. You speak less, but your words carry weight. You plan less, but things align effortlessly. The universe stops resisting you because you've stopped resisting it. That is the physics of ascension. Not leaving Earth, but vibrating at a level where Earth itself transforms around you. And then, a deeper realization dawns. Your desires were never enemies. They were teachers, signals meant to show you where you were out of tune. Every longing pointed toward a forgotten vibration of wholeness. Once you reclaimed that vibration, the desire dissolved, its mission complete. That's what it means to transcend desire, not to live without passion, but to live without lack. At that point, you no longer manifest, you emanate. You don't create from need, but from overflow. Your life becomes an ongoing constructive interference pattern, where your personal wave merges with the universal rhythm. You stop asking for miracles because your existence itself becomes one. The real secret isn't about getting what you want. It's about remembering you were never separate from it. You were the frequency all along. You are not a receiver waiting for the signal, you are the broadcast. And when you finally live as the broadcast, the universe harmonizes to your song. So ask yourself now, what frequency am I feeding? Am I broadcasting lack or abundance, fear or faith, wanting or being? That single awareness is the pivot of evolution. Change the signal and the entire hologram reconfigures. That is how worlds shift, one vibration at a time. And when enough of us hold that higher frequency together, when millions of hearts beat in coherence rather than conflict, a tipping point emerges. The collective field reorganizes. Wars fade, systems crumble, and new ones rise, not by revolution but by resonance. That is the next dimension of humanity, not somewhere else but right here, vibrating just above the noise. You don't reach it by force. You tune into it by peace. Silence is not emptiness, it's bandwidth. Meditation is not escape, it's calibration. Every breath you take in stillness is a reset of your inner tuner. And every time you return to that still frequency, you send a new pattern into the world. So tonight, when the noise fades, don't ask for your desires to come true. Ask to remember the frequency of fulfillment. Breathe it, feel it, live it. Because the higher dimension is not waiting in the sky. It's waiting in your vibration.